The Adepta Sororitas codex has 4 detachments based on the 4 elements. Bringers of Flame representing fire, the Army of Faith representing air, the Hallowed Martyrs representing blood, and the Penitent Host, which also represents blood, or maybe fire. But there is another detachment for the Sisters of Battle units. But it is unusual, a strange, contorted version of the Adepta Sororitas, and it is not one touched by chaos. We aren't going into a fan codex for Chaos Sisters. This is a legitimate detachment from Games Workshop, and you can play it in tournaments. But it is weird in the Uncanny Valley sense. These are not the Adepta Sororitas Battle Sisters you know. Their combat weapons have armor penetration that is too high, yet they are still 1 attack at strength 3. They have the Defenders of the Faith ability, but cannot use miracle dice. They have the Sisters of Battle keyword, but they are not Adepta Sororitas. They have a Cherub, but despite the recent errata so that a unit split by an immolator doesn't have a Cherub in each half, this Sisters of Battle squad is exempt from that change. This is the strange reality of... This isn't some weird von Carmian thing that I will use that some people in the community will not, like legends or White Dwarf information that other people don't use if they can't get the magazine. This is the Purgation Force detachment. You can find it in the Agents of the Imperium Codex. In the Agents of the Imperium Codex are some Battle Sisters, but they are the Agents of the Imperium requisitioned version of the Battle Sisters from the Adepta Sororitas Codex. It's like a crossover, but it's not them. So the only versions you can use of the Battle Sisters in this detachment are the units from the Agents of the Imperium Codex. The Battle Sisters, the Minister and Priest, a Rhino, and the Immolator. These are the weird versions of those units that haven't been updated and won't be updated compared to the Battle Sister units because they're in their own different codex and have their own different rules and stats, like an extra AP on the close combat weapons for some reason. If you want to have some fun with your friends and you're like, oh, well, I've done all of the good ones I want from the 4 Adepta Sororitas Codex detachments, I would like to do something else. It's already gotten stale for me. Then you could, and I don't see why not, use this detachment from the Imperial Agents Codex with the units from the Adepta Sororitas Codex, and so you now have a 5th detachment for that codex. Or we can try and just use the Battle Sister units in the Agents of the Imperium Codex and make it work. So what you want to know now is, should I use this detachment? Is it any good? Is it fun? Those are the thoughts that will be going through your head. When you have this attachment, it gives you 2 very mild abilities. Ignore cover for Ordo Hereticus units, that includes the Sisters of Battle and Immolators, and also works on shooting attacks for Inquisitorial Agents, the unit, Adeptus Arbites, and Inquisitor models. It is just models, not units that the Inquisitor has joined. That's how the keywords are working. That is how it's referring to specifically just the models, not units with that keyword. Ignore cover is really useful. There are a lot of cover saves easily available for units. It's a shame that this is one of the abilities of the Immolator, which is now near redundant. The Purge and Cleanse ability of the Immolator will help other Imperial Agents units as well as allied Imperial Knights, because the wording of the Immolator ability means it removes the target unit's cover save, not that it grants Ignore cover to a limited number of friendly units. The second detachment ability is that those same units get Sustained Hits 1. It is Sustained Hits in shooting or combat, but it is only against Chaos units and only Chaos units with 5 or more models. The idea is a fluffy fight against a Chaos cult. If you're not fighting cultists, a horde of little demons, or loads of Zangor mutants, it is not doing a lot. If you fight against Votan or some renegade space marines using the Space Wolf rules, then you don't get sustained hits, just the ignore cover part. In fact, if you're playing against the Chaos Cult Detachment, as I did, for fun, if they bring tanks, no sustained hits against them. Greater Demons, no sustained hits on them. 4 cultists left, no sustained hits on them. We need better shooting, and the stratagems partly provide that. Dispense Justice for 1 command point gives you lethal hits, and that's in combat or shooting, whereas in the Battle Sister Detachment, that is limited just to combat, but it's in the shooting detachment. Or Exact Punishment lets a nearby unit fire in the enemy shooting phase after losing a unit. You fire at normal ballistic skill, but can only target the enemy unit. Extra shooting is great, but because of the 6 inches limit, this is often an immolator transport getting revenge for its passengers or vice versa. If you can use it, I wouldn't pass up more shooting. An immolator could use Overwatch on Immolation Flamers, and then, if its passengers or another unit died within 6, it now shoots again. I wouldn't think too much on the Immolation Flamers though. I like them, but as with the Adepta Sororitas, the agents of the Imperium Sisters need as much anti-tank as we can get, so I would choose multi-melters as the turret weapons. Execution Order for precision is so good. 2 command points though, but now you can remove the force multiplying characters with Battle Sisters carrying melter guns. Hit a Blood Angel's Chaplain, that Death Company is no longer getting +1 to wound, and they are now OC 0. That can be a big swing in power and scoring. Line of Fire is a lot like a stratagem in the Brood Brothers Auxilia Detachment, but you don't have to make a friendly fire roll. It is 2 command points, so can't you just fall back? I thought of using it on our tanks with big weapons like the Immolator, but Big Guns Never Tire has us covered. Because we don't have a fall back and shoot stratagem, this is the closest alternative. And I don't know if you can use it on a unit that's in combat to fire weapons other than pistols. It says you can use range weapons, just not blast weapons, provided the target is within 12 inches. It should work. But unlike Big Guns Never Tire, it doesn't specify that you can use it on units that are in engagement range with the enemy. Let me know if you think it can be used on a unit that's in engagement range. Those are the attacking stratagems. There are 2 defensive stratagems. Stun grenades, making an enemy unit, not monsters or vehicles, -1 to hit, but that can go a long way. And this can be used in any phase, but because of the range, mostly the fight phase. A Hormigant Horde gets really unhappy to be hitting on a 5+. And we have a Pocket Hospitaller from Inviolate Jurisdiction, a 5+ feel no pain on the detachment specific infantry units, but only if you're on an objective. I prefer stun grenades unless the enemy is far away or has lots of rerolls. -1 to hit doesn't do as much if they can reroll the hit roll. The enhancements leave a lot to be desired as well. For the Ordo Hereticus, well, in a small game, you could start your army completely off the board. This is a bad idea because you need to get your sisters controlling objectives. Then you make them sticky with their special rule. Witch Hunter is an enhancement that will give a unit reroll hit rolls against psychers, which is good. Reroll wounds would be better for the monsters like Magnus and the Zoanthropes, so unless you know you are facing a psyker heavy army, and friendly games are where you would most likely use this detachment, so your opponent may tell you what you'll be facing. Otherwise, I would just skip this enhancement. No Escape is an ability that Greyfax used to have, but she can't have enhancements as an epic hero. It stops enemies from falling back, but only if they fail a leadership test. And against your toughness 3 models, they'll probably be fine just stabbing you. For an Inquisitor leading Deathwatch or Grey Knights, it seems more usable, but then we have a mismatch of those units not getting the bonus from the detachment or access to any of the stratagems. Ignis Judicium is good. For 10 points, when added to a Priest's Vindictor, or better, an Inquisitor, well, it affects all of the model's range weapons, not just one of their weapons. So the Inquisitor's Psychic Shockwave and their combi weapon get the bonus. Torrent weapons that sweep away characters gives you more precision on top of Greyfax and the Execution Order stratagem. We have to be good at something. We can sort of take out Chaos Hordes at a push, and we can at least kill their characters. We need lots of bodies with high objective control. We're unlikely to be killing the enemy, because the Agents of the Imperium roster has no real anti-tank to fight monsters and vehicles outside of bringing an Imperial Knight or 3 Imperial Armigers with real melter weapons. So an army list could have 3 Battle Sister squads, which cost 100 points for 10 models, but as allies the cost is 115 points for 1 model, as the updated October 2024 balance patch still claims. 3 units of 10 is the maximum we can have. They are not battle line units in an Agents of the Imperium army. And we can have 3 Immolators. The Immolators cost 100 points compared to 125 points in the Adepta Sororitas codex, but they can only transport the Agents of the Imperium Battle Sister squad. And all the Sisters and Immolators want melter guns or multi-melters. That is the closest we get to anti-tank. With the splitting of the Battle Sister units, we have 6 Battle Sister squads! For every split unit, 5 want bolters and the simulacrum to hold objectives. The simulacrum doesn't generate miracle dice in the Agents of the Imperium, it improves their leadership so they are more likely to pass battle shock tests. The other 5 sisters mount up in an immolator with characters and rush for objectives. Both sides will have a cherub token for 1 reroll, because the FAQ only refers to changing the Adepta Sororitas immolator. Rhinos are an option for the sisters to be transported, but the Agents Rhinos don't have the Hereticus keyword. And for 25 points more, an immolator is better. Better guns and splitting a unit is really valuable to give you more sticky objectives and more units to complete actions. We are going to try and win based purely on victory points, not wiping out the enemy. The Inquisitor leads 1 unit and Greyfax leads another. Because of Ignis Judicium and the castigation of Greyfax, both are good at precision attacks to kill off characters. I would fire both at the same target just to be sure. Thematically, the Subductors could represent Celestian Sacrosancts, or use Celestian Sacrosant models to represent the Arbiter rules. A Cherub is now an attack dog. That works. As Arbiters, they get the detachment bonus. Woo! Ignore cover on tiny pistols. The Subductors could be used to attack in combat, but as an anvil, 10 bodies with a 4+ invulnerable save for 85 points will do alright. One of the 2 squads is led by a priest, so that their strength 4 attacks have more chance of wounding something if they did need to beat some heretics into submission. And a lone navigator can sit on the home objective to prevent deep strike onto it, and it should have been permanently made ours because of the Defenders of the Faith, but having a model in your own deployment zone that can complete secondary missions like recover assets has its use. To get to 2000 point levels, you will almost certainly need a knight as an ally. The Chainbreaker Canis Rex is a good choice, or 3 Armiger Warglaves if you don't want 1 big target for the enemy. To have an Adepta Sororitas army but using this detachment, you would want to give all of your Adepta Sororitas units the Ordo Hereticus keyword so that they can actually interact with this detachment. And, well, unit choices, there's nothing really to specialize into. For a fun game using this detachment, just pick the units you like, the prettiest ones, the models that bring you the most joy. The Exorcist. Hey look, this army list has all of the models that you own. Or here is one army list for the Adepta Sororitas. But how would you get these units? Well, this is part of the Ordo Hereticus battle force. And this is the army list that you could make from that box. It also includes the current Adepta Sororitas Combat Patrol and a few other units added in. So if you want an Ordo Hereticus themed army, I would play the Adepta Sororitas and ally in the Arbiters, Greyfax and the Inquisitorial Agents. As the Inquisitorial Agents don't take up a slot for the assigned agents rule, everything in the battle force can be included in an Adepta Sororitas army of 1000 points or more. So if you were planning on going as an Agents of the Imperium player into the Hereticus detachment, picking Adepta Sororitas and the Army of Faith and then bringing some allied agents will work better. You don't need to attach Greyfax to the Inquisitorial Agents after an errata FAQ because of the step order. You don't attach characters until after making your army, and so this change makes the rule work mechanically. It used to be that you could only include the agents if you attach them to an Inquisitor. Now you just include them in the army and they don't take up a slot as long as there is an Inquisitor in the army. So as long as we have Greyfax, the agents don't count as a choice for the assigned agents faction rule because Greyfax is a choice of character and she has the Inquisitor keyword. The Arbiter's Subductor unit is the retinue unit, and you don't have to add a character to them even though they're called retinue. No matter how they look, this Adepta's Arbiters unit can be built as any of the 3 different kinds of Arbiters. It could be an Exaction squad, it could be a Vigilant squad, or it could be the Subductor squad. You get parts to build all 3, you just pick whichever one you want. That's how the models work. I go for Subductors because they seem the best. I would attach Greyfax to the Adepta Sororitas Battle Sister squad because she can join any Battle Line Imperium units. And this way, Celestine can use Blinding Radiance to protect her girlfriend. The stratagem only affects Sororitas units, so it wouldn't help Greyfax if she was joining the Inquisitorial agents. To review the Hereticus Detachment, is it fun? Well, it has some flavor, but you are going to get a better feel from the Battle Sisters by playing Adepta Sororitas, and then you get access to Miracle Dice. The agents of the Imperium don't have an army rule to improve their units. There are not a lot of tactics here for the agents. You really need to get lucky and pull the right opponent that happens to be playing Chaos and also is a Horde and also has psychic characters. Precision is available, but if you want precision, as an Adepta Sororitas player, you would be better with the Army of Faith. The Blade of St. Eleanor gives you precision on any combat character, probably a Palatine. You could still include Greyfax, and you would also get Ephriel Stern. She has precision and also anti-chaos 2+. The short range of the stun grenade stratagem to get -1 to hit on one enemy unit looks really weak compared to the blinding radiance stratagem, which works in the shooting phase or combat phase and can affect loads of your units by coming from an aura of a jump pack unit. It is used in reaction to shooting, and it will affect enemy monsters and vehicles, unlike the stun grenades. Considering how minor the detachment bonuses are, and for so few units, after trying the Hereticus Force for Adepta Sororitas units, the Penitent Host may serve your army better, even if you only have a few units with the Penitent keyword. You can fall back and shoot for 1 command point, which is better than spending 2 command points to stay in combat and shoot with a different friendly unit. And Miracle Dice. You get Miracle Dice, an actual army special rule. If you were playing Agents of the Imperium, you either really like the Adeptus Arbiters, or you probably chose the Imperialis Fleet Detachment. Some of their stratagems are nice. Displace a field for a 4+ invulnerable save on any unit with a character. Emperor's Will stratagem to fall back and shoot for 1 command point. And Violent Acquisition is the bonuses of the Hereticus Detachment. Sustained hits 1 and ignores cover. The Imperialis Fleet Detachment gives you a 5+ invulnerable save on units on one objective, or you can get +1 to hit. It's all about more invulnerable saves and even higher objective control. That is how I see the Agents of the Imperium played. Lots of toughness 3 bodies with invulnerable saves and high objective control. This is also why I like to have lots of Battle Sisters in my Adepta Sororitas army. Do you want to see that kind of army list? Or you can take a look at what the Imperialis Fleet Detachment has to offer the Death Watch. My darlings and viewers, have a great day of 40k.